Hey guys, this is the Ruski, and today I'll be talking about 4.2 patch and what you guys can expect in this patch. As you guys know, the Firelands are out and that we have a beautiful new content that we can explore, we can love and hug everybody else around it. Yeah, hell no, I'm not gonna waste neither your time or my time over something that you can log on MMO Champion yourself and read it. This video is about killing and training people. So let's do this. You are a train. You are a TSG. You train targets till they die. If you go defensive, you lose. Hey guys, this is Reinhart, and today I'll be talking about the infamous cleave TSG, which stands for Decay Warrior Paladin. This clip is gonna be about TSG with Unholy and the Frost Death Knights. Really quick, we run on TR anywhere from 21 to 2350 MMR. We beat a bunch of 24-2500 teams today. We did very well, and I'm lucky that I actually frapped some of that stuff, and I'm gonna show you guys. Really quick guys, let me tell you the strengths of Unholy TSG and the Frost TSG. Unholy TSG has a higher sustained damage and Decay has a higher uptime. Why? Because most of the Decay's damage is spread out, so if he gets shot down he still have his disease, he still have his pet damage. On top of that, a lot of his damage is also ranged via death coils. Decay has a death advance, that means they are not reliant on a freedom. And Warrior have a charge, they have very good mobility. That means that TSG can be run with somebody else besides Paladin and be very successful. Of course, with the Paladin as a TSG, Warrior gets pretty much all the freedoms and they can actually rack up pretty good damage in that time. The comp also has a higher survivability via AMZ and AMS that absorbs runic power. And AMZ is very good when it comes to fighting spell cliffs. Frost TSG on the other hand has a much higher burst potential. You know when you get globaled? Yay, that's a Frost TSG, right over there. They have more CCs via Hungering Cold. Yes, it got nerfed, yes there's a 1.5 second cast time, but it's really not a big deal. What you guys have to do now is you have to focus grip the healer, focus chain advise them, and then cast Hungering Cold. And sometimes you're gonna have to juke, but it's really not that much of a deal. And if you're gonna get locked out of the Frost, please don't get despaired. Stack those necrotics guys and you'll do good. Also, Frost TSG has a lot more AoE snares via Chillbanes, and they have more CCs due to Chain of Ice roots and better pills. The spec that I ran was 31 Unholy and 10 Blood, and you guys can see in this spec and you'll be like, what the hell is this Russian kid doing? And let me explain you a little bit. Warrior does a lot of damage, your pet does a lot of damage, so you as a Death Knight you don't really even have to do damage. What you can do is you can stack a lot of necrotics. That's why I decided not to spec in Rage of Riven there, for that particular reason. What I did instead is I took 31 talent points, I didn't get a disease damage via Virulence, and I only put 1 point in the Ebon Plaguebringer for just 8% debuff and extra disease. Then I put 3 points in the Sudden Doom. And for my sub spec I went into the Blood. I took Blade Barrier, I took Bladed Armor, 1 point in Sign of Blood, and Sign of Blood is amazing. We as a Death Knight gonna get trained a lot, and this thing procs every single time, and it procs a lot and gives us a lot of extra running power. Then I put 2 points in the Head of Doom for improved Strangulate. 1 minute Strangulate is amazing. Imagine this, gripping the healer into Throwdown into Strangulate every single minute. That was amazing. Right now the burst healing is up to par, which it was in the Wrath of the Lich King. I think it's still a bit lower, but it's definitely up there. That means that the teams are not gonna get globaled anymore. They're gonna get globaled damaged and they're gonna get globaled healed back up. So having that extra Strangulate is pretty amazing. And I also went for the Scarlet Fever, which reduces the damage by 10% any physical damage. That means that if it's a melee cleave and they're gonna be sitting on Death Knight all the time, I can apply Scarlet Fever, I can Pestilence, and they're gonna do 10% less damage on me or on my warrior. Yes, I know the spec looks kinda weird, but we won against 2500 Decay Feral Paladin, and Decay is a Walrus. It's the creator of TSG. He is an amazing Decay, and I'm actually kinda big fan of him because I like his playstyle. Now, let me tell you the strengths of this spec. First of all, I'm usually sitting in the Blood Presence as soon as the melee starts sneezing on me. If I just if I just see them, it just seem like looking at me like differently, I pop Blood Presence right away. Otherwise, we not gonna get global. No. But what's gonna happen is our healer is gonna fall behind the healing when he's gonna start eating continuous CCs, and we cannot bring ourselves back up because of the Deathstrike nerf. Now you guys think that you're losing a lot of damage, but in all honesty, you're not. As you guys can see, right now, currently I have unbuffed 12,000, roughly 12,000 attack power. If I switch into Unholy, I'm losing about 250 attack power. Why? It's because that extra armor that Blood Presence gives me and a bladed armor that increases my running attack power based on how much armor I have. And the next season, once you get your hands on a better gear, it's gonna be even more. It's probably gonna be around 300, 320. Another thing is, when I'm running the Blood Presence, I have roughly about 15% extra damage mitigation against physical. I get extra about 6.5-7% from extra armor, and Blood Presence by default increases my damage reduction by 8%. Also, I have a little bit higher stamina, which helps. After that, I also have a Scarlet Fever debuff, which reduces damage dealt by physical DPS by 10%, which already adds up at about 25%. I have 25% extra mitigation, plus 2 points from a Blade Barrier, which is 4%. I have 29% damage resistance against melee cleaves. That's why it is so good. I'm actually able to survive pretty well. We had a lot of teams, a lot of melee cleaves starting on DK, and they're like, oh, let's shit on that DK because he doesn't have a Deathstrike anymore. And about 30 seconds into the fight, they're like, what the fuck? We're actually dying, but that DK is just sustaining him somehow. And that's because on top of my resilience, which is 39% damage reduction, I also have about 29% extra damage mitigation from my presences and from my spec. Up to, I would say, about roughly 65-70%, including all my armor and all that stuff. It's a very good spec. I personally like the spec. I enjoyed playing it today. I'm actually thinking of making it as my permanent spec for melee cleaves. I still have to experiment a lot. I still have to do some theory crafting. But I just wanted to guys let you know what kind of spec I was using. Alright, well, enough with all this nerd analyzing and stuff. Let's watch some games. Let's own people in Arena. And also guys, I'm gonna be including some Skype communication, and I'll be commenting along the road as well. Enjoy! The first fight is DK Warrior Shaman us against the DK Feral Paladin, and I'm walking over and I'm hungry and cold, while my warrior is sweeping strike and posting a lot of pressure. Paladin was forced to trinket it, and I'm strangling him right after. He was forced to bubble the strangulate. He did not do nothing wrong. But as we see the DK was getting tapped off, we switched to Feral and we put another massive range of pressure. Feral, because he was forced to go defensive, he wasn't able to clone our healer as much. And we actually rack up a lot of damage. Pali popped Aura Mastery over here, and I'm trying to stack those necrotics, but he gave himself freedom and he runs away. We still didn't decide to switch from the Paladin, because his bubble is down, his trinket is down, and the Paladin at that point are very trainable, or easily trainable. Let me correct myself. We keep putting a lot of pressure on this Paladin, and he would be eventually go downstairs. Here I have my trinket proc, and I have my Fallen Crusader proc, so I'm stacking those necrotics like a champ. As you guys can see, it varies from 10 to 20k in just one quick session. Up down, and he was trying to heal himself, but I focus mine and freeze that. Now Warrior is on him, and he's gonna throw down his ass, and I'm gonna grip him back, and we're putting still more pressure on the Paladin. At the point in time he wasn't able to recover, and we got a kill on a Paladin. This next match we're facing the same comp but on a different map, and we're putting a massive amount of pressure. I strangulated Pali in a full strangulate, and we're putting massive pressure on this Death Knight. We keep putting pressure, but the Paladin keeps healing. I focus gripped his kill, and we keep wailing on that decay, but so far it's pretty stale. Here I'm gonna slow down and explain you what is going on. Since we're on decay, the Feral have a free reign. Because Feral have a free reign, every time he reaches up to 5 combo points, he gets that instant cast. So for you as a Death Knight, the best you can do, if you're not training the Feral, you have to Dark Simulacrum the Feral, so you can actually steal that clone. Like here, I'm put a Dark Simulacrum debuff on a Feral, and I get a chance to copy his clone. Right away, I'm switching the targets to a Pali after I copied the clone, and I'm gonna cyclone this paladin for a full clone duration, which allowed us to go ahead on our damage and then go full behind on their healing. Thus we're putting a lot more pressure. My warrior, after he heard me cycloning, he popped his whipping strikes and we're putting out a massive cliff damage. We switched to a feral because we didn't want any more pills. Basically how the ferals guys operate is, if they go defensive, they're not being able to build up those combo points that are needed for them in order to be able to clone your healer or your DPS target. We're putting a massive pressure on the feral and he eventually goes down. This was a pretty good match for us. It was a pretty high life TSG versus Feral Decay Paladin, and we were able to score a kill and get on top of it. That just one cyclone made a huge advantage for us in that fight. This match we're fighting, I think, again the same team or the same comp, and the only reason why I'm showing you, I guys know you're already getting tired of this, is because what you can do as a Death Knight on the switching. And here I'm gripped the paladin and I strangulate him right after, so he couldn't pop his freedom, he couldn't pop his sprint. That means I can stack those necrotics for 20-30k before he can actually do something. And that's when we're actually able to go super offensive on their healer and get him down right here. Next gameplay, I'm playing the Unholy Death Knight and I'm using the spec I showed you, which provide extra 29% mitigation against physical. And like I predicted, I knew that Death Knights are gonna get trained a lot, so I kinda anticipated the huge burst towards Death Knight. As soon as the warrior charged me, I hear pop the Blood Presence, and I stand in the Blood Presence for the most of the match because they're gonna train me, and they're gonna train me hard here. So we're gonna start to putting out a lot of pressure, and you guys, you know, it's a TSG. Whoever trains the hardest wins. So they tunnel vision me because they thought, oh, these knights cannot Death Strike anymore. But hey, guess what? I have a weird, messed up, fucked up spec that actually completely negates almost any melee cleave. It's also very useful if you're running some kind of a hybrid spec or hybrid comp. For example, you're running DK Hunter or DK Warlock, and you guys can use those specs as well, because if the Warlock gets trained, he will still get a lot more mitigation against the physical. Alright, so anyway, the reason why we're winning here and we're switching to Paladin is because they oomed much faster than us. I mitigated so much damage from their tunnel visioning that their healer wasn't able to keep up with the healing and the pressure that we output here, and eventually he went down here. And I have a surprise for you guys. This one is we're fighting a Valrath. Multiple times rank 1 Death Knight that we're fighting on TR. Their TR rating is 2500, they're undefeated. They went 20-2 and the only 2 losses were from my TSG. This is as good of a DK as it gets. He is amazing and I'm personally a big fan of him because the way he improves himself, the way he learned, the way he adjusts his playstyle was absolutely freaking amazing. He is a Death Knight, he's a creator, a founder of a TSG along with a Viv. So guys, please enjoy this footage. They would be training me really hard here because of a lack of Death Strike, but because I was using specific hybrid spec that I developed myself, we were able to eventually score a kill on a Death Knight. But it required a lot of time, a lot of practice and a lot of dedication from us. Let me start commenting you on the match itself. My warriors disarmed the DK, his pally popped Aura Master so they can start healing and they cannot fall behind the healer. At this point in time I already have my pet enraged and I'm gonna focus stun Paladin right here. DK was starting putting a lot of damage and Druid is trying to peel and clone my warrior. We're still putting a massive damage and I'm stacking those necrotics. I'm also using a blood strike sometimes and sometimes pestilence to spread out my diseases and my debuffs. I sure focus strangulate the paladin and we are getting this DK low. I focused Death Grip and that was the final straw that we managed to do in order to get a kill on a Death Knight. Thank you guys very much for watching my video. If you have any requests or anything you want me to make a video about, I would more than happy to make a video for you. I'm also actually gonna make a contest for my viewers where once a week I'll be talking to about 3 to 5 people on a Skype and I'm gonna be teaching them on how to become good at an arena. Thank you guys for watching my video and до свидания.